Attention all basketball fans. CMG Sports presents the Posting Up Podcast, where Lucas Boldick, Sean Scanlon, and King Zay discuss the latest news and topics throughout the NBA. So, if you have a love for basketball, make sure you check out the Posting Up Podcast, live every Tuesday and Saturday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also available for download on every podcast platform. The Giants are running New York like the Times as Danny is dropping all sorts of dimes. Saquon's thighs are ruining defenses' lives and Leonard Williams making opposing QBs feel him. Receivers think it's scary to line up across James Bradbury, and the Giants have a bright future led by Coach Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Tune in to Drawing About the G-Men every Wednesday at 6, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Except for when we go on at 5 o'clock. Joe Aguirre and King Zay hanging out with you. Jace will not be here. Could see some other guests before the day is over, but we'll see. We're going to start things off, Zay. There's a lot going on around the league. Josh Allen's 6-year, $258 million contract extension. The question, of course, can the Bills win a Super Bowl within the time of his contract? Clearly, they think this is the guy. They're going all in. Had a great year last year. We were just talking about this on Keys to the City. He really did only have one outstanding year. But to me, and I think where the Cowboys went wrong with Zach is you lock the guy up when you know he's the guy. And it's clear that's the case here.
Completely agree. I think most teams run into the issue where they end up giving the guy the money after he's already peaked. He's normally performed to the money level, and that's when he gets it. But I think in this instance, the Bills got ahead of it. They've given him enough money where it's early enough that they can still put talent around him. They can still have many, many years to compete in that division, which is going to be a tough division. So to make sure you locked up your franchise quarterback right now is completely important, because as you move forward, it's just one big piece you don't have to worry about as you try to chase a title, especially in the AFC East. You're talking about the Patriots will be back soon. You're talking about a Miami team that's going to be up and coming, great defense there. They have a great quarterback that could be one day one of the best to play the game, as we know. We've seen him in college do great things, so it may translate into that in the NFL. And then again, the Jets have, some young talent. They have new coaches there. They have a new culture. So as for Bills, I think that's great. You want to do this. You want to get ahead of it early. You want to chase after it as many times as you can, especially with Stephon Diggs being an older receiver. And that's one of the guys, it's one of your focal points on offense. You want to get him as many opportunities as you can. So I think this is a great move by the Bills. And I think other teams should follow in suit also. I think it'll work out for other teams well if they follow it.
Well, that brings up the next question. What does that mean for some of these other guys? I think Lamar Jackson especially. And I'll tell you, for me, the Ravens are a gun-shy franchise because they're the ones who created what I call the Joe Flacco effect, where you don't pay the guy until after he wins the Super Bowl, and now you're paying for what he did, not what he's going to do. And I don't like that, and I think that was a huge mistake. Trevor Keys from Keys to the City joins us. Zay, weigh in on Lamar, and then Trev, hop in and give us your thoughts, because we actually talked about this earlier today.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lamar's got to be one of these guys who you think is going to be the next one in line to get one of these big $200 million contracts like everyone is big getting. You have to assume that with him being one of the top quarterbacks in the AFC, probably one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and most people are expecting him at some point to win a championship for that team. That's why they continue to gather as many pieces as they have. It's getting ugly, the culture, because as you see these numbers start to go up, you start to wonder, okay, so when is the ceiling going to hit for these numbers? Because it gets scary for a more frugal franchise like the Giants, who have a Daniel Jones, and the Giants aren't a franchise known to give big money contracts out to quarterbacks like that. They just don't do it. So we give money, but not I've never seen the Giants give $40 million to a quarterback. I've personally never seen it.
Because you never seen it before. You never see quarterbacks getting paid. I mean, you see athletes in general. You never seen baseball players get fully guaranteed 300, 350, even $400 million contracts. Basketball. Steph Curry just got his second $200 million extension. Just think about that, knowing what he also does with endorsements. It's just the way, and with Joe, we had this we talked about it on Instagram even on last week. It's just the way the market is. It's just going to happen. The money's just going to keep going, and we're all going to look at these deals like when we watch NBA free agency. Guys that are like on the 7th or 8th man, not even the 6th man, that are on the bench are getting paid like $15 million a year. Just like, it's just the way the market's going, and you're going to see ridiculous contracts like that. Josh Allen getting a big contract, but much deserving after a stellar season last year. He could have been the MVP if it wasn't for Rodgers. And then Lamar, he's on the verge of getting another big contract, his first big contract. It's just going to happen. But guys like Baker, who I'm a big fan of, I love Baker Mayfield. Daniel Jones, I wouldn't even put Daniel Jones in the discussion yet because that man actually has to perform to a level of not excellence, but something that we could say manageable to say, okay, I'm happy with this guy. Where Buffalo Bills, maybe a year ago at this time, we're thinking that, but now they're like, we're happy we got our guy for the next 6 years. Baltimore's sitting pretty right now. They got a great quarterback. He's going to continue to get better. But guys like Daniel Jones and Baker's teetering on, like, I want to see what Baker does this year with this team. But Daniel Jones, I wouldn't even put in this discussion yet. Lamar, he's well deserving of this big money. It's just the way the market's going, guys.
All right. So this is a giant show. That's why Daniel Jones is on this list. So, and no. Fair to say. So let me say this, because at going into this season, year 3, for all of these guys, they're coming off a good year. I think in Lamar's case, he won the MVP. But they were all coming off great seasons where, I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer giving Josh Allen the money. And the cool part is Pat Mahomes already set the market. No one's getting more than Mahomes. And Brady always falls in a weird spot. So there's a cap there where you need to be, I feel like. And you'll see, where everyone's going to settle into that. I think it's time for Cleveland to pay Baker Mayfield. I think you commit to the guy, you lock him in. And I think, and again, I mentioned off the top, I don't know if you caught it, Trev, but I still think the Ravens are a little gun shy because Joe Flacco was the last guy they did this to, and it blew up in their face. This is a very different situation, though, than Joe Flacco, and I hope that they recognize that. He's got one of the most talented quarterbacks in the entire league, and a guy with a skill set that is a little different than Pat Mahomes, and for that reason, I think is a threat to beat him anytime he faces him. Hasn't gone well so far, but I think that's probably coming. So Daniel Jones, man, if Daniel Jones doesn't throw for 30 touchdowns this year, I think the Giants are in big trouble.
Joe, I'd be satisfied if he just gave us like his rookie season stats. I mean, if you go back to what his stats were and he missed some games, it didn't have, touchdown to interception ratio. I know he had a lot of turnovers with the fumbling, but 24 touchdowns, 12 picks. I mean, if he could get those numbers where like 25, I'm okay with that. I don't expect Daniel Jones to be Patrick Mahomes or guys like that. I don't expect him to throw 30 to 35, maybe 40 touchdowns. I mean, maybe total touchdowns, yes, because of his running ability. But I don't expect him being a guy that's going to torch the league with his arm like Mahomes or Josh Allen right now. But I'd be happy with 25 touchdowns. I'd be good with that.
I think he should be in the 30 touchdown range. I think that's why you bring in guys like Golladay. You draft people like Kadarius Toney. You put these weapons around him for this. You bring back Saquon Barkley this year, who should, again, add a run game. Shouldn't be all relying on Daniel Jones. Should take off pressure. He should be able to throw for 30 touchdowns easily. If he could throw 22 and not, miss games his first season, he should be able to throw 30 with weapons. An offensive line who's now, I guess, second year together. They're starting to come together, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Mm-hmm. You hope, that's what he's going for. You hope that we're looking to pay Daniel Jones $40 million down the line, because the year you're going to have to pay somebody. You're going to have to either pay Saquon Barkley, or you're going to have to hope that Daniel Jones becomes your guy for the future, because that's really what it's going to come down to this year. This is a big year for the Giants, pay year for Saquon Barkley especially.
It's just unfortunate because it's kind of like the all positions where you see like receivers. One guy gets, a perfect example. Fred Warner just got paid big bucks, well deserving. Was the highest paid linebacker. A week later, and a couple days ago, Darius Leonard became the highest paid linebacker in NFL history. It's just the way that's going to be. It's always like that. It's going to be for any position. It doesn't matter if it's a kicker or not, a special teams guy. It's just how it's going to be. One guy gets paid more. Guess what? I'm going to ask for $1 million more so I can be that guy. It's just the way it's going to be like that. Yeah, that's exactly. And Fred Warner, I think, was like 94 or 96 million, something like that big, just got the big contract. And then Darius Leonard, who's an all-pro defensive player, one of the best players that's coming into the league, actually, well-deserving. But, that's how it's just going to be. More contracts, bigger contracts, and guys are just going to ask for more money. It's just the way sports is now in general. It's not just football, just the way sports is in general.
It's just bananas to think that people used to have 2 jobs when they used to play football back in the days, and now you can feed generations.
I'm waiting for refs to get paid even more now. I'm waiting for one
ref to
get paid bigger, and then another one gets paid even more. It's crazy.
In 1927, after he hit 60 home runs, Babe Ruth got a raise, and he was making more money than President Hoover. And the media said to Babe Ruth, they're like, what do you think, man? Like, you're making more money than the president. And the Babe said, I had a better year. So, right. You said it before, Trev. The market dictates what the market dictates. And again, no one's getting more than 45 million. We know that. No one's getting more than Pat Mahomes.
Don't say you never. Don't say you
not
never.
Yet. Not yet. Let's just get there.
You're going to have to be really good to get more money than Pat Mahomes, and you have a really hard time.
He wins just hypothetical. Say he gets to an AFC championship this year, then he wins a championship next year. They could be looking to re-up his contract again and add more money onto that. So you just never know who's going to be taking in the most, because we keep seeing players who are already in gigantic contracts now re-up on bigger contracts.
The good thing is that the sport has a salary cap. So there's at some
Does
point,
it?
How much?
Does it?
Yes, and it seems like only the Giants are ever affected by it, which is what kills me.
No, it's every other team not named the Dallas Cowboys.
I was going to say, the Cowboys, I feel like for years, the 49ers used to sign everybody in the offseason, and I thought, how is this possible? I don't like it. Interesting. We've seen some guys drop out. Zach Fulton, Joe Looney, Todd Davis all retired during training camp. Is Joe Judge too hard, too militant, or did we not want these guys because they couldn't cut it?
No. Do you want to go, Zay, or do you want me to go?
By all means, you're already going. You go.
No. Guess what?
You're already going.
Sorry. You want to take a hike? Take a freaking hike. I don't really care. You want to complain? You want to be a baby? You want to complain? Oh, it's too hard. I don't really care. It's the way. I'm glad. And we talked about this last week on the show when we talked about the brawl. And it's about time the Giants have been a punching bag for years now. They've been a laughingstock. They've been one of the worst teams, other than that one playoff appearance, since their Super Bowl title. Look it up. They've actually had one of the worst records in football. They have not been a good franchise. They've been laughed at. They've been kicked around. They've been beaten up. They haven't won a lot of games. Guess what? Finally bring a guy in that's not going to take no crap. I don't really care if it's a military type thing. I don't care. And everybody wants to always say, oh, well, Belichick. Well, guess what? Belichick also won 6 championships with that philosophy. So it works somehow, right? Nick Saban, who's still dominating college football, still managing to win national championships. So guess what? It's working with that style. Why are college players succeeding when we got professional players? Oh, because you're a professional, you think you could take it easy because I've earned it. No, you haven't earned it. You're coming onto a new team. You haven't earned squat. BS. I don't think Joe Judge is to blame at all. There's a reason why there's players on that team still that love Joe Judge, and there's a reason why people are retiring, because they just don't have it cut out to make it in the league anymore.
Let me just put 2 things out there. Number one, Sean Scanlon has joined us. Sean didn't get the memo that we changed the start time from 5:18 to 5 o'clock on the button. No, I'm just playing, Sean.
Okay, at least he's not like Ted when he's 45 minutes late. It's okay.
I didn't write any of these questions. Jace put all this together. I just want to put that out there too, because to me, look, if you don't want to be there, and I don't remember any of these guys signing, and I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be a difference maker. These were depth guys, and obviously they couldn't hack it. And I think you're right, Trev. I think it's time that these guys learn a little discipline, and they came off the field after running the 100-yard sprints. And they were, the lesson was learned and the message was taken. And I think that's all you can ask for. And as long as this team, even after a brawl, is walking together, offense and defense, it's just some internal stuff that happens on hot days in the summertime when you're trying to play football. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Zay, I think, it is what it is with this. I'm not worried about Joe Judge. I think he's doing a fantastic job.
It can't be Joe Judge when you have 101 other guys who are buying into his culture and just all for it. So it can't be Joe Judge. I think what this is the culture of football in general. The players have become more prima donnas lately. Even in their last bargaining agreement, they asked for less practices, and which is shown on the field because we've seen a lot of crappy play. We've seen a lot of terrible tackling. We've seen it. So we know that players don't want to practice. They really don't want to be out there. I'm like, you only play 2 hours a day. The least you could do is go out there and run some sprints every now and then. So I don't think it's really being that hard on them. I think Joe Judge is treating them like a football team, the way a football team normally is. You never had an issue with running sprints in high school. You never had an issue with it in college. Why should it be any different at the professional level? Because you're getting paid for it? It just makes no sense. It's still football. I think they need to grow up and just play football. Simple as that. Joe Judge is doing everything the Giants need. We need someone to be an alpha.
Jared, did you see Jared's takes? I guess he wouldn't know because he's a Cowboy fan. They just hire freaking drug dealers and stuff like that. So I haven't won anything in 21 years. Keep having Jared take. Awful take. Yeah, guess what? Give me another. Oh, this is the year Dallas is going to win. Yep, that's an awful take every year, buddy.
It's every year.
Move on to something new, Cowboys fans, please, for God's sakes.
No, anyway, let them do that. Let them do that.
Sean, go on.
No, I agree with you guys. I don't think it's Joe Judge is to blame for. These guys are all veterans who have been in the league for a while. If they didn't think it was going to work out for the Giants, they could have asked for a release or asked for a trade to another team. They didn't have to retire on the spot. So, I think these guys were just at the end of their career, and I think Joe Judge might have been the one that pushed them out. But hey, if these guys aren't ready to be working hard for a reserve spot in the NFL, then so be it. Like Joe said, they were just going to be depth guys anyways. So, and you're going to have to buy into Joe Judge's program. He obviously has, high character. He holds these guys to a high standard. He's got a lot of discipline on his team. So, and all the other players have bought in. All the other players have spoke very highly of him, including Sterling Shepard, who's now the longest tenured Giant, Logan Ryan, who's a leader on this defense. So.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is. Well,
that's what the Giants franchise has been. Shepard's been in the team, I think, since 2016. He's the longest tenured Giant. That speaks volumes to where the Giants franchise was.
Exactly, and that's why Joe Judge has to come in and instill this toughness and this discipline into this team because they can't be a laughing stock of the NFL anymore. And I think that he built the groundwork for it last year. I think we definitely took a step in the right direction, and we have the right guys in this locker room. Obviously, I don't care about Zach Fulton, Joe Looney, and Todd Davis. It's not like they're going to be a huge contributors to this team anyways. Maybe backup linemen and Todd Davis, maybe special teams at best, but. I don't blame Joe Judge at all. I love what he's doing. I love the toughness mentality that he brings back to New York. So I don't think that he deserves any of the blame. I think that he's doing the right thing, and I'm glad with the guys that we got in the locker room right now.
Jared, I want to make a quick comment.
Yeah, I didn't even read what he said.
I said this to Joe last year about some sports when Joe was talking ridiculous. So when I said, "Hey Joe, stick to baseball," Jared, stick to throwing jabs. Stick to boxing. Okay.
Hilarious.
There you go.
So there is some good news. Saquon Barkley is expected to be removed from the PUP list, and he'll be able to practice this week. Will he be ready for week 1? And Trevor, we talked about this earlier, even more importantly, whether he's ready for week 1 or not, should the Giants give him 25 carries week 1, no matter what the condition he's in?
I think they got to handle this the right way. We know how important Saquon Barkley being on the field, the success of Saquon Barkley will be as long as the Giants will go this far this season. We talked about it. We know how talented he is. We know how amazing he is when he's on the field. but he's coming off of a serious injury. I don't expect him. If he plays week 1, I don't expect him to play a lot. I see him to get some touches here and there, but I think they're really trying to play this as safe as they can, because you also got to take in consideration for his sake, contract-wise, because he's coming up on a contract. And if Saquon Barkley goes down again, well, his tenure as a New York Giant, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, could be coming to an end. And that's how close it could be. It could be average. It's still full stadiums. Parcells is the man. Couldn't win in Dallas, though. Only in New York, baby. Sorry. But that's how I feel about Saquon. We know how great he is, but if he's not, I mean, if he goes down again, it's not even about just this year. It's about the future. And we talked about it with Daniel Jones. I know Daniel Jones gets a lot of backfire, as deserving so at times. But I'm sorry, Saquon hasn't been on the field. He's played one full season. To be honest,
Zay, you think Saquon's a bust? So, what's your thoughts on whether they should rush him back or not?
No, let's not just put words in my mouth. It's not. I think he's a bust. I'm going off of basically what I have. I have a guy like Trev said. He's played 1 year. He really hasn't given me much. And in the league, we've seen that running backs are very replaceable. You can get him almost at any number in the draft at this point. We've seen the Browns go and grab Nick Chubb, who I said I wish the Giants had got. But again, these positions are just very, very replaceable, especially at the running back position, and it doesn't last that long for a running back. You maybe get about a good 10-year stretch. So what lucky. You get, if you're lucky, yeah, even Tiki Barber we had maybe for 8 years, and he was probably our best running back we've had. So our probably longest tenured running back. So that career doesn't last long. So I think even if he doesn't get hurt, he has to have a great year, or he could be looking elsewhere for a job, because like I said, they're very, very replaceable at the running back position. It's just, obviously putting someone in isn't going to be as special as Saquon Barkley, but you could definitely get someone who can do that position and be very serviceable. And that's all you really need in this league at this point.
Yeah, it's not like a quarterback. Running backs.
Sean,
you can find.
Sean, can you set him straight, please? We're talking about generational talent here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the running back, it's definitely lost its value over the last couple of years, and that, I mean, there's definitely, like you said, replaceable guys that you can get, 4th, 5th round, maybe even drafted sometimes. But I mean, like Joe said, he is a generational talent. The 1 year that he did play his full season, he led the league in scrimmage yards, had 90 plus receptions. I mean, he's an extraordinary talent, and obviously, the injuries have been upsetting the last couple of years. Coming off a torn ACL, that I hope he can get back to where he was. I'm sorry, Jared Jones got me cracking up. But yeah, I hope
he's
he
gonna have
can
to answer that question too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But I mean, yeah, so I think Saquon will get back to that to where he was his rookie year eventually, as long as he can get back to full health. And when he is at full health, he's easily a top 5, maybe even top 3 running back in this league. So I do agree that running backs are replaceable, but with guys like Saquon and, not him, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, I think there's a handful of guys that, aren't really replaceable, just because not just what they can do running the ball, but what they can do out of the backfield as well. And that Derrick Henry, he's just a beast just running the ball, so he's in his own level. But I think there is a handful of guys that still, if they go down, it's hard to replace them. Like we saw last year, Wayne Gallman came in and he was decent. Alfred Morris was all right, but if Saquon was in that offense last year, it would have been much better than obviously the product they put in the field. So I do agree that the running back has lost some value and that they are replaceable in some points. But I think Saquon is in that rare one. He's one of those rare talents that there's 4 or 5 guys in the league that I don't think are that easily replaceable. And we saw it last year.
We seen it. When did we see it?
Last year when they went
absence is done, but we haven't really seen what his impact could be. We seen a glimpse of it. We haven't really seen what it could fully be.
We also saw what his absence meant to this team, and it's been
that's just
devastating.
It's not just his absence; it's the fact that his absence and we didn't replace it with a running back at all. I think if you had replaced him with somebody who's more capable than Wayne Gallman, you wouldn't even notice he was gone. I just got to.
Devontae Freeman had a crack at it.
Devontae Freeman, you're talking about a guy who, again, the Falcons let walk because he was done.
Yeah, but you just
You
said
don't.
you
You
can
can't
get
bring
you
in.
can get a backup running back
Hold on,
anywhere.
I got a stat for you for Saquon. So
You want to bring in these old guys. You want to bring in Alfred Morris, another has-been, who played well, but he's never going to fill in for. Come on, bro. Alfred Morris is never going to fill in for Saquon Barkley.
I got some stats.
It's never the same. It's never going to have the same impact.
So this is why you need Barkley too, because Daniel Jones actually excels when he has Barkley. I'll give you quick stats. So he's played with 11 games with Barkley. Just think about that. 11 games they've only played together. He's had 23 touchdowns, 9 picks, and almost 270 yards. 15 games he's been out. Daniel Jones's numbers: 12 touchdowns, 13 picks, and under 200 yards, 199 to be exact. So not just does Barkley help the offense, he helps Daniel Jones in general. Because when you have a back, and Sean, you hit it on the nail, when you have a back like a McCaffrey or an Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook, I don't want to put Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry's he's just nasty with just literally running the football. If they ever involve him in a pass game, boy, that's scary. But that's what a great running back could do for a quarterback. When you have a great talent like that, and that's why I think Pittsburgh, I think with Najee Harris, I think that could be another guy that can really help out Big Ben. You need a guy like that. It sees the numbers deteriorate. Daniel Jones, they drop significally.
I think you're forgetting he also had a guy named Odell Beckham Jr. that year also. So that helps your numbers out tremendously. That also helps your numbers out tremendously.
Daniel Jones never played with Odell.
He's a bum, but who has he had since? Honestly.
No, Daniel Jones never had Beckham.
Never played with Odell.
Yes, he did. There wasn't Eli there for the last year. Oh, yeah, right. No. You're right. Yeah, he left. Yeah, he left. They traded him the year before. You're correct. Yeah, I'm wrong. So, yeah.
Edelman knew.
All right, hold on before we move on. Answer this question. Zay, this was directed at you.
Obviously, the Giants are going to have a better record, guy. If they don't, honestly, I can't even say that. I honestly can't even say that.
I thought the Jets were winning the AFC East, though.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Honestly, I don't know. I can't even say that. The Giants could come out and go 0-5 the first 3 weeks, and I could be sitting here looking stupid. It's not like we haven't done it before. We were going to come out.
Hey, you got put on the spot, so answer the damn question. Make it.
I don't know. It's awesome, bro. As the Giant fan in me wants to say the Giants, but that's a toss-up. I've seen the Giants come out and go 1-5, so I don't know.
Saw the Jets go 1-15. I mean, they suck.
Again, you're talking about a new coach coming in. That's going to be a whole new culture. That's going to be a whole new thing over there. Elijah Moore's been looking great in practice. He's going to tear up the league. I'm telling you.
Let's be honest. What do you realistically think the turnaround could be there? Let's say they win 5 more games, 6 more games this year.
Honestly,
I mean,
the Jets,
where are they at?
I could see them winning 8 or 9 games. I could see them doing it. I really do. I really could see it. And it's not on the quarterback. I think Rob Salah is going to come in and bring a serious culture that they're going to get behind. And we've seen teams before rally behind culture and win more games unexpected. We've seen teams overachieve when they shouldn't. And it just happens in sports. Again,
have those teams ever been the Jets?
No. It's a new time in New York, though. It's good things going on in New York. You know, we're talking about the Knicks is number 4 seeds. We're talking about Mets and Yankees will figure it out. Everything is going well in New York. Don't worry about it.
Sean, it's not a bad take, but it's not as bad as last week's takes from Zay.
We're not going to get into that because again, me and Sean had that conversation. He agreed, but we'll have that conversation.
Garbage. He doesn't even want to bring it up.
Come on, bro. Because you're taking it out of context of what I said, but we're not going to get into it. Again.
Speaking of the Jets,
go
Saturday night preseason game 1. What do you need to see from the Giants to feel comfortable heading into this season?
I think the offensive line, I think, is the biggest thing. We've been bringing it up pretty much all offseason, but that's if you want to point to one weakness in this team, it really is the offensive line, and it's just these guys. Most of them are so young, and most of them don't have a lot of experience. Andrew Thomas only has 1 year in the league. Matt Parrott didn't even play last year. Nick Gates, he's going to his 2nd year playing center ever. So I mean, it's a young group. So obviously, you want to see improvement there. I don't know how long they're going to be out on the field, especially for the first preseason game. They might only be out there for a quarter. But and the Jets, they have a pretty good D-line, with a guy like Quinn Williams. They picked up Carl Lawson in the offseason. So I think it will be a good challenge for them first game of the preseason. So I want to see that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I want to see who our outside linebackers are. Obviously, the pass rush, if there's any weakness on defense, I think we don't have that one, bona fide star pass rusher. I think that Patrick Graham does a good job of getting it done by committee, getting a pass rush by committee. Because even last year, their pass rush win rate and their sack numbers were pretty good. They're up near, in the top half of the league for not having a stud edge rusher. So I want to see, who's out there starting. I saw the projected depth chart today, and it says Lorenzo Carter, O'Shane Zimenez. So I want to see how they rotate that, how much Azeez Ojulari plays, if they get Ogdenebo in there, who they picked up in free agency. So that's really the biggest question that I have on the defensive side of the ball. So how is Patrick Graham going to do it this year, generating pass rush, and see who starts at the outside linebacker spots?
Trevor, how about you? What would you like to see from this team against the New York Jets on Saturday night?
Sean hit it on the nail. I mean, look, this game is all about, and no matter what people want to say, no matter how great quarterbacks are, this game is all about who wins inside the trenches. And we saw that firsthand. For anybody that wants to deny that and want to continue to rebuttal with that or go against that statement, just go back to this past February and go watch the Super Bowl where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers embarrassed Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The great Kansas City Chiefs and the great Patrick Mahomes. That's what I need to see from the Giants. I need to see the development of that offensive line, and we need to see – I'm not talking about the interior defensive line. I'm talking about the pass rushers. The Giants haven't had a pass rusher since Kiwanuka, Tuck, OC, Strahan. It's been a while to see an elite pass rusher, and I'll even put JPP. He was all right, but now he's taken his game to a whole nother level since going to Tampa. But we haven't seen an elite pass rusher from this Giants team in that long. And and Sean, I'm not going to talk much longer just because you hit it perfectly. All about the development of the offensive line. Daniel Jones, I want to see how he progresses throughout this not postseason, but this preseason, see if he could get any better. And the pass rusher. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Zay, what would you like to see?
Jared, my name's Trevor. It's not Teddy. Get it right. Like I said,
another one. That's another one.
Like I said, stick to throwing jabs.
He can't tell you Italian Americans apart. It's sad.
I got the beard.
Very
Ted doesn't. It's very simple. I got the beautiful tan, the beautiful hair, and Ted's got no beard.
Florida living got him looking nice. No, honestly, this game has lost a lot of smoke for me as a New Yorker. This used to be a big game for us. Game week 3. Preseason, this used to be the dress rehearsal. This used to be the game for New York, in our opinion, because no one cares about the Bills. Contrary to what Jared believes in the comments or whoever else is in the comments talking about the Bills being New York's team. But honestly, I just want to see the offense get off to a start, some type of start. We've preseason games year after year. I've just watched the offense just sputter. They haven't done much. And then it translates to week 1, and then we don't really do much offensively throughout the year. So I just want to see this offense get on track. I want to see us score a couple of touchdowns and get off the field. That's really what it comes down to. You do look the same.
Oh, all love, Jay.
I'm with you, Zay. You know what? I would love to see Daniel Jones start this game Saturday night, take these guys down the field.
I want to see
no pick six. I want to see him take this. I want to see him score points. No, I don't want to see him go, 1 for 6 on the opening drive, and that's it. And then he sits, and it's like, oh, boy. And yeah, I mean, any sort of interception to me would be that's not the start you're looking for. Shawnee, who's someone that you've got your eye on in this game?
I'm gonna go with our first round pick, Kadarius Toney.
Damn, Sean.
Taking all the trust picks here.
I'm all watching him. Damn, Sean.
But I mean, yeah, I just want to see how he's utilized in this offense. Obviously, he's listed as a receiver, but I think he can move around from the slot outside, in the backfield, doing jet sweeps, things like that. So it's quick screens. So I want to see how he's utilized in this offense. Obviously, like I said, the first preseason game, you're not going to see much of it, maybe 2, maybe 3 drives just because he's a rookie. They'll give him some more time out there, but I want to see his role in this offense. I don't think we're going to get an exact, answer on that, but I just want to see how they use him. Because he's a great talent. He's great running after the catch. He's really strong for a receiver, and he's super explosive. So I think he's going to be a nice piece to this Giants offense this year. I think he's the X factor. Really, I think that his success is not going to reflect how the Giants offense is, but I think that he's going to be a big piece of it. In big moments. So I want to see his role in this offense. I want to see how Jason Garrett utilizes him. And pretty much just see, what his role is going to be. So I'm excited to see him, and I can't wait to watch this Giants offense this year, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Trevor, I hope you had a B pick, and
if
you didn't, I'm trying to buy you a minute right now if you haven't fleshed out your thoughts. So go.
No, I was going to just be like, hey, Zay, here you go, because Sean just took. No,
don't throw it this fast.
No, I'm gonna go. Also, our second round pick from this year, Easy Illusion. I think that was a guy that was supposed to be a first round talent, maybe top 20 pick for the Giants to get him in the second round. I believe it was 51, and they traded back, or 50. They traded back and still got the guy that many people said the Giants were trying to look at and draft, and they got him. I think that kid can be. I'm hoping he's not a Lorenzo Carter, because I know Lorenzo Carter had a lot of potential coming out of college too. He was great in college, but I think this kid could be different. He's lengthy, he's quick off the ball, and we just need to see some sort of positivity from the edge rushers. And if I could see Easy do his thing, what he did in college, I think the Giants could be in really a good situation, because this defense has been their strong suit last year, and it started to get better too a couple of years ago, but now it's starting to be their focal point. It's their bread and butter with that defense. It's the backbone of this team, and I think Easy Illusion can be a huge impact player. So I was going to say Tony, because obviously he's the first round pick, and with the way the NFL is going with speed and special teams, guys like Tyreek Hill and players like that, we have a guy like Kadarius Toney who could be that type for us. So, but I went with the other guy, Easy Illusion from the Georgia Bulldogs.
Zay, if the question was who's someone you secretly have your eye on, I think the answer for you is Zach Wilson. But if we're picking a giant that you're interested in this game, who might that be?
Actually, well, Sean and Trev really hit who you're probably going to be looking at the most, because obviously they're high rookies. You know, that's what we want to see. We drafted them really high, but it's going to be actually the running backs as a group for me. That's going to be probably the most important position right now in preseason, because like you said, you don't know if you're going to get Saquon Barkley back. So whoever's going to be that guy day one that's going to be the starter or going to be the long-term permanent backup for Saquon Barkley, that's going to be super important for that team going forward, because like we've seen what happened last year when you have Wayne Gallman or other guys who just running back by committee, it just doesn't work.
Giants don't have cheerleaders.
I was just going to say, we don't have cheerleaders.
We don't have cheerleaders.
We're a whole organization.
The greatest thing about the Dallas Cowboys, they got great cheerleaders.
I will tell you, there is a particular guy I plan on keeping my eye on big time all through this preseason, and that's Will Hernandez. Is this guy ever going to get back to what he was supposed to be, and it looked like he was going to be after his rookie year? Because I'll tell you what, boy, what a difference maker that guy could be for this whole entire offense. Yep. If he can get himself back up to that level.
He's lost weight too. He's trimmed down. He looks good.
He looks good. I mean, I'm kind of hopeful for him. I feel like he's got a bounce back in him. I think Solder's got a bounce back in him. I think Andrew Thomas is getting better.
Let's be honest. All those guys that were named, even Andrew Thomas, they better have a bounce back season, because if they play poorly again, their asses will be finding another place to play.
It's going to be hard for them to play worse.
But didn't Hernandez have an injury?
I'll give Andrew Thomas credit, because he finished strong at the end of the season. I'll give him that. There was growth throughout that season. He started off really poorly, but was he the worst of the four last year? Yes, of the top 10 tackles. He was the worst of the four. That's fine. But he grew throughout that season. He got better, and he went in the right direction. So that's a positivity to see. And I mean, he was the number 4 pick. We're hoping that he could be our future left tackle for the next 10 to 12 years.
Yeah, he faced a tough schedule of edge rushers too, right off the bat too, starting with TJ Watt and Bud Dupree in that first week, and then from there it was, it was pretty tough. But I do agree, he looked better as the year went on, and so I think him and Parrott could be the young tackle duo going forward, and I hopefully they are.
A quick round the horn, who wins, and just give me a score. I don't think too much about it. It's preseason. I expect it to be low scoring. Sean, we'll start with you.
I mean, preseason game, I have no clue. I think the depth on this Giants team is pretty good, so I'll give the Giants the win. I say they win 24 to 18 feels right. Giants
Trevor
on top.
I like it. Trev?
I'll stick with the Giants. I'm not going to be like, I expect them to win every preseason game. Not every regular season game, but I'll pick the Giants to win. I'm not like Jason, pick them every week, but I'll pick them to win, and I'll go like 20 to 13.
Zay?
Jets.
I got them tied. It's New York. There's no salt in this game. It's not like it's not the third game. There's no salt here. I can see them walking off the field 20-20 after an overtime and just walking. I can see it happening that way. 20-20, both teams not scoring that much.
That's how much this guy doesn't want to pick against his secret crush.
You're Steve Risser like in the Houston Astros. You just love the New York Jets, bro.
Look, when you live in New York, it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
You don't want to hit you over the head.
But when you're on a Giants podcast, that should lessen the load. You know, lessen the load off your mind. I will give you hilarious. I will give you my prediction: 12-9 Giants. I don't think it's going to be nothing great. I think there's going to be some moving of the football, but I don't think there's going to be a whole much more than that. So anyway,
one drive from the starters, everyone back up. It's not three. There's no salt. 2020 tie.
Although, can everyone see a scenario where Mike Glennon throws 4 scores in the second half? I mean, how cool would that be?
I was just going to say, I'm surprised you didn't have your eye on Mike Glennon, Joe. That would have been the obvious pick.
I thought that was the guy you were going to eye for the preseason this year.
And real quick, not for nothing, earlier today on Keys to the City, we addressed this. The idea looked at the Jets. And really, I don't think Jacksonville, there's a few teams that don't really have a backup quarterback. And I think for the Giants, I know he's not a good quarterback, but Mike Glennon has been a starter in the NFL.
Sadly.
And again, let's assume that Daniel gets hurt at some point this season. Mike Glennon's going to have to start a game or two. I hate Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy, I couldn't think of a worse guy in the league.
What is the biggest game?
But they could have had Cam.
Seahawks.
That's the issue. They could have had Cam last year. Nobody wanted him.
Again, my thought is I want, look at the Jets right now. If God forbid anything happens to Zach Wilson, who's the backup? Who's starting games in New York?
Let me go look at their backup.
Right?
That is a very good question, actually.
It's not good. There's no veteran there. And I mean, if you're the Jets, dude, you could if let's say Wilson goes down in this game, you're going 0-16.
Well, you got to hope like Chicago.
0-17. That's right. There's the boot. I forgot about that.
You better hope like Chicago. You got a good quarterback.
Their backup is Mike White.
Who?
Okay, I think I've made my point.
Mike White, James Morgan,
Mikey White. You don't know
James Morgan. And they're four.
Bro, you see his picture on Instagram? He doesn't even have football pads on. He doesn't even have football. His picture on Google, his roster picture doesn't even have football pads on. This is the backup quarterback.
Sean, would you rather have who was his name, Mike White, or would you rather?
They got Mike White, James Morgan, and former played actually their 4th stringer is Josh Johnson, who was a former. He played in this league. He's started some games, so
that's right.
Maybe that.
Who would you rather have? Any of those guys or Mike Glennon? Honestly,
I would take Josh. Johnson.
I'm taking Mike White all day, every day of the week. That's.
I don't
talk about one of the most underrated backup QBs in the league. No, I don't know who the hell that is. Maybe a little
James Morgan on the side.
I'm just saying, look, I don't expect anything from Mike Glennon. I just think you want to have a guy who started in the NFL to back up your quarterback because it's going to happen.
You want Chicago situation. Everyone's mad at Chicago for picking up.
Absolutely.
But apparently, from what you're hearing, their quarterback is the young rookie quarterback is looking like he's going to be the starter, and they're going to have a good backup situation. So
they have a riches of backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what you want. So
if the Bears have anything, they got a couple backup quarterbacks. So
all right,
they got a good starter, bro. The rookie looking good.
I like to say we didn't say anything too stupid this week. That feels pretty good, huh?
It's an accomplishment.
Oh, wait, it's over? Wait, I'm waiting for Zay to say something stupid. Say something stupid.
No, he got through 44 minutes of this. Let's quit while we're ahead.
No, I want
Make sure you visit us, clovercrestmedia.com.
Joe, it's like Keys to the City. You get one more thing, Zay gets his one more stupid thing.
Visit clovercrestmedia.com /Jawing About the G-Men. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and on Twitter. And make sure you download the audio podcast for your listening enjoyment. For Trevor Keys from Keys to the City, King Zay, Sean Scanlon, I am Joe Aguirre. Thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of Jawing About the G-Man.
He said, Mike, no, he didn't go to Alabama. He went to Western Kentucky, Mike White.
Wait.
Well, Jared doesn't even know what he's talking about. He went to Western Kentucky. He's talking about Alabama in the group chat.
The Giants are running New York like the Times as Danny is dropping all sorts of dimes. Saquon's thighs are ruining defenses' lives and Leonard Williams making opposing QBs feel him. Receivers think it's scary to line up across James Bradbury, and the Giants have a bright future led by Coach Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Tune in to Drawing About the G-Men every Wednesday at 6, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.